Have you ever had one of those conversations where you walk away and just get that feeling? You know, the feeling that what was said wasn't the whole story? Well, guess what? You're probably right. There's this hidden conversation happening all around us, all the time. And in this explainer, we're going to learn how to tune in and finally decode it.
It's the ultimate question, isn't it? What are they really thinking? We're all trying to figure it out, whether we're in some high-stakes business meeting or, just trying to figure out if our friend genuinely likes that new shirt we bought. We're all searching for the truth that's hiding behind the words.
And here's the good news. You don't have to be a mind reader. Not at all. You just need to become a better observer. So think of the next few minutes as your own personal crash course in emotional intelligence. We're going to unpack seven powerful techniques to help you start listening with your eyes and seeing with your ears.
Okay, first up, the body. Seriously, our bodies are the most honest broadcasters of what's going on inside. Long before we even say a word, our posture, our gestures, even these tiny little twitches in our face, they're already telling a story. So let's learn how to read it.
So we're going to start with the big picture stuff, body language. Then we'll zoom right in on the eyes, the so-called windows to the soul. And finally, we'll get into the really fascinating part, these super fast involuntary signals called microexpressions that totally give away our true feelings.
I want you to think about it like this. An open posture is basically an open door. It's welcoming. It's receptive. But the second someone crosses their arms or their legs, boom, a barrier just went up. Now, of course, context is everything. Hey, they might just be cold. But a lot of the time, it's a signal that they're feeling defensive or maybe resistant to what you're saying. And you want to keep an eye out for the small stuff too, like a tapping foot. That can be a dead giveaway for impatience or anxiety.
You know the saying, the eyes are the windows to the soul? Well, it turns out science kind of backs that up. If you notice someone's pupils getting wider, that's a genuine, involuntary sign of interest. It's something they can't control. And also pay attention to where they look. Now, this is not a foolproof lie detector test, okay? But some theories suggest that looking up into their left can mean they're recalling a memory, while looking up into their right might mean they're building a new idea. It's a really subtle clue, but it's a fascinating one to watch for.
All right, now for one of my absolute favorite cues, microexpressions. I'm telling you, blink and you will miss them, literally. These are these split-second, totally involuntary flashes of true emotion that just escape before our social filter can stop them. So if someone is insisting they're happy, but you catch this fleeting frown or a flash of disgust, you just saw their real feelings leak out.
Okay, so we've covered what you can see. Now let's talk about what to hear. We're going to tune our ears to the sound of emotion itself, listening for that whole other story that's being told right between the words. Just think about your favorite song for a second. Yeah, the lyrics are important, but it's the music, right? The melody, the speed, the volume. That's what really makes you feel it. Well, it is exactly the same with a conversation. The words are just the lyrics, but the tone of voice? That's the music. And that music is absolutely packed with emotional data.
This is something we all do without even thinking about it. Picture someone saying, "I have amazing news." Their voice probably gets higher and faster, doesn't it? That's pure excitement. Now imagine a boss announcing bad news. Their voice is probably going to be slower, deeper, trying to convey seriousness. But you can listen for other things too. Is there a little waver in their voice that suggests they're nervous? Or maybe a sudden drop in volume that might signal they're not so sure about what they're saying? We are wired to pick up on these things.
So up until now, we've basically been passive observers. Now it's time to get in the game. These next few techniques are tools you can actually use in a conversation. And you might be surprised to hear that the most powerful tool of all, well, sometimes the best thing to say is absolutely nothing.
Yeah, you heard me right. It sounds crazy, but learning to just embrace silence, it's a communication superpower.
We'll call this one strategic silence. See, most of us get really uncomfortable with pauses in a conversation, so we just rush to fill them with anything. But if you can resist that urge, just for a few seconds, and hold that space, you give the other person a chance to actually gather their thoughts. And you'd be surprised how often they'll fill that space with something way more honest or thoughtful than what they said first. Have you ever been deep in conversation and suddenly realized you're leaning in at the exact same time as the other person? Or maybe you're using the same hand gesture. That's called mirroring, and it's this powerful subconscious sign that you're connected. It means you're literally in sync. So on the flip side, if you notice a complete lack of mirroring, it can be a quiet little signal that you might not be on the same page just yet.
So here is a golden rule for you.
When the words and the body are telling two completely different stories, you should probably believe the body. This clash is called incongruence, and we've all seen it a million times. Someone says, "Oh yeah, I'm fine," but their jaw's clenched and their arms are crossed tight. That contradiction right there, that's your invitation to maybe dig a little deeper. To ask, "Are you sure?"
Okay, so we've just filled our Observer's Toolkit with some really powerful techniques for seeing, for hearing, and for interacting. So now let's put it all together and talk about what this is really for.
So here it is, our completed toolkit. We've got tools for looking at the big picture, like body language, and for catching those tiny little details, like microexpressions. We have tools for listening to the music behind the words, and for using things like silence and mirroring to build a better connection. Just remember, these aren't isolated tricks. They all weave together to create a much, much richer picture of every conversation you have.
But let's be really clear about something. This is not about becoming a human lie detector, and it's not about gaining some kind of unfair advantage over people. This is about empathy. It's about building a bridge from your mind to theirs. Because when you can truly hear what's not being said, you can connect with people on a much deeper, more authentic level.
Because at the end of the day, seeing and hearing more deeply isn't really the goal. It's the starting point. This knowledge gives you a choice. In every single conversation, you now have a choice to lean in, to ask a better question, to offer support you might not have even known was needed before. So the real question isn't what other people are thinking, it's what are you going to do with what you now know?